how do you say?
Gotta keep it hood.
We're here with Todd, one of the owners of C4 Workspace in San Antonio, Texas. Todd, thank you for allowing me to interview you today.
Absolutely.
Thank you. You're one of those people that I find very inspirational. I play around with you all the time and everything, but this is a moment I want to take to showcase who you are. So
Sure.
If you could, just tell us a little bit about who you are.
Sure. Well, I've been a media producer all my professional life. I like the combination of art and technology, kind of putting those together. I started out as a theater major going into college, and then I got onto the radio station, and then I discovered television. And I'm like, oh, cool! Like, I can be fun. I can be goofy, and I'm using all this like weird geeky stuff. So I'm kind of a left brain, right brain person, and that's much to my demise, I guess. One of the things I really like doing, though, is connecting people to stuff, whether it's other people or information or a resource somewhere that they could use. I had a great mentor in college who basically shared stuff with me. When I went to her and asked, hey, I'm having a little trouble with this, or I'm looking for that, she always was able to pull out some resource out of her back pocket. And she got me, indirectly, I got my first professional producing writing gig out of her. Indirectly, she gave me a contact, I did some work with it, and then I jumped into this thing with, at that time, what was the old AT&T when they were splitting up. So I had this multi-part thing for AT&T PR that I got through her from 2 years before. I got a tour of CNN headline news. This is like going way back, right? I got a tour of CNN headline news before they were on the air through their students, because she knew somebody and she just referred me, and that's kind of my thing. I like connecting people with information that's going to be good for them, or people that's going to be good for them, and that was to me, that's part of the inspiration for C4 Workspace. I've worked a lot with people. I like to go out and network. I think that's kind of important. It's key to anybody's professional life, and I discovered the concept of co-working. It seemed like a cool thing to me. Pretty much it made total sense to me. I had worked in a cubicle farm for a while, and the thing I missed was not necessarily the politics of the place, but what I missed were the people I worked around. And being able to ask a question, or even just like, I'm having a bad day, can we just go down and have lunch? I just need to not be in this space anymore. And when I heard about co-working, I said, well, that's perfect. I'm working on my own now, but now I can work with other people.
How did you discover the concept of co-working?
Kind of by chance, sort of a networking thing. I was visiting a friend at her studio, and she had a friend visiting her from Austin, and she was telling me about this new project she was working on. She's going to create this thing called a co-working space. It's like, co-working, what is that? So she explained it to me, and I was like, oh, well, that's brilliant. I mean, who wouldn't want to work in that kind of space? And that was now, what's going on, 4 years ago. And so I've just been pursuing it ever since. I think at that moment, when she told me about the space and that she was going to create one in Austin, at that moment I said, well, yeah, I need to create one of those. Because it just makes too much sense not to do it.
So I met you at a Gemini Inc. Discussion at C4 Workspace. Just by chance, I happened to
immigration discussion, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And just by chance, as I was leaving, I just happened to ask you if you were the Twitter guy for C4 Workspace.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And when we had that conversation, you really turned me on to TEDx, or TED in general, but you told me about the TEDx San Antonio. Could you tell us a little bit about your involvement with TEDx, and how that came about?
Sure. So another networking opportunity. friend was visiting our space, having a meeting. She was visiting SQL Workspace, having a meeting with a colleague or a client or something. And she mentioned sort of offhand, said, I was thinking about doing this over at MySpace, but this would be really good for you, because at the time we were trying to build, trying to get things going. This was like the summer of 2009. And we're really trying to get things going, so we're thinking about doing various events. She goes, well, TED.com is doing this new program called TEDx, and it's like these local versions of TED, and you might want to, think about doing it. And pretty much as soon as she left that afternoon, I went up online and read a little more about it, and I applied for the license. And so a few weeks later, we got an email back from TED.com that said, yes, congratulations, you have the license for TEDx San Antonio. And so that was in the summer 2009, and we figured, we'll do something, probably after Christmas or something like that. And it just turned out that we ended up doing more. We thought we'd do an event for maybe 50 people in C4 Workspace, which at the time was 3,000 square feet. And we thought we'd have this like cool little community thing, mind expanding, come up with great ideas, share new ideas for San Antonio. And we had a call with a mentor kind of person up in Dallas, and he basically encouraged us to think much bigger. And after the holidays in 2009, we started thinking much bigger, and it turned into an event for 350 people, and we had 15 speakers in 14 talks. I think we had upwards of 40 volunteers helping to make the whole thing run. We had sponsorship money to make it happen, great participation with Trinity University, and it was, from an organizer standpoint, it was like 1,000% better than we could ever imagined it could have been. It was just like magnitudes better. We thought it would be good, but we thought, somewhere in here, there's going to be like a speaker who's going to not work, and people are just going to walk out, and it's not going to be good. And that was not like that at all. It was just every single speaker like hit it right on the mark for someone in the audience. Not every speaker was for everybody, but every speaker was for somebody, and that was really, really cool. And now we have 350 raving fans out there who really like the idea. From an organizer perspective, again, it was, I think all of us organizers think of it as one of the best things we've ever done professionally in our lives. Because, and it wasn't not because of any recognition we may have gotten. It was really about what we did as a service, right, to the community. We organized this thing, we brought out these speakers, we made people think, or enabled people to think about ideas. And I mean, wow, we don't know what's going to happen out of it. I mean, I don't know if anything has happened out of last year, but I have to think that there's little seeds being planted, or have been planted, and they're going to grow. But it's not going to be an instantaneous thing. But stuff's going to happen.
Yeah. What gets you out of bed in the morning?
Wow. I think I really like what I do, and I think that's that's just important. I mean, you just have to like what you do. I worked corporate before I went out on my own. I opened a company in 2007 called Doing Media, and I do media is what I do. So I do a lot of content strategy, but I do some video production. I do consulting on online presence and a little bit of social media. Basically all the kind of hot medias that are like in play right now. And I do that because where I was working in a corporate setting, that was not something I could go and explore. I was kind of limited. I liked where I was working, I liked the work I was doing, but I wanted to do other things. And that's how I explained it to people. There's things that when I left the job I had, I told them that there's things I can't do here while I'm here, and there's things I can't do outside of here while I'm here. So I need to go and do those. So it's let me explore a lot of opportunities and a lot of subjects, a lot of approaches that I couldn't have done before. And yeah, I like what I do. I can't imagine why anybody would do something they don't like. I just totally don't get it, and I don't understand people who go to a job and it's not something they're really passionate about, and it's not even something they necessarily feel like a responsibility to. They go because it's a job, and they get it they go there at one time, and then they leave at another time, and somebody pays them, and they like the people they work with, but whatever they're doing in between is not something that they feel like they were born to do. And that's important for me, to feel like I'm doing something that I was born to do, that's in my heart. That's important.
What advice would you give to anybody who's going to watch this today?
It's kind of cliche, but pay it forward, I think, is whatever you have, offer it freely out to other people. Because, you can get into, being possessive, having possession of your knowledge or whatever, your contacts, your whatever it is. But in the end, if you hold on to it, there's no way for it to go out and create new opportunities, because it's just what you have, right? And so my thing is, take what you have and spread the wealth, if you will. Give it to other people, and stuff's going to happen. Prosperity is, I think, more in people's minds than it is an actual number. And do what you like, and you're going to become prosperous in a way that feels good to you. But you're going to do that by actually giving stuff away. Sharing and just, like I said, paying it forward. I think that's probably if there's any piece of advice, that's what I would tell people to do, because it pays off. It just doesn't pay off tomorrow. It pays off next year. It pays off, But I'm not going to die tomorrow either, so that's okay if it pays off next year, because I'm going to be living for quite a long time.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
That's really all the questions I have for you. Just
all right,
people
cool.
to know the Todd O'Neill that I know.
Well, cool.
So know and respect. So
excellent. Well, thank you.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That was very cool.
You have a good one.
I want to see how they work.